Welcome to Maddie's World. Enter the world of networking, technology and gaming.
Last time you guys have seen what we have done, right? We created one VPC. I have that existing VPC. I haven't deleted that. So I have taken this range here. So I created one internet gateway, right, to provide internet gateway to my network and assigned that to this specific VPC that I created. Then I created routes, public routes and private routes, right? Public routes basically defines, right, which basically routes my traffic to the internet gateway, right? If you see the subnet association, my public subnet is associated here, so you can see we have two public and private subnets also, right? So last time we have seen whatever instance we were launching in the public subnet, those were accessible from outside. We have public IP allocated to them, but those subnets, I mean those instances, either DB, web or anything application instances, those will not be accessible from outside. However, they will be accessible from our public network or from some jump servers. So right, so we have also seen, we also created two security group. One is public and one is private. We said the public instance should be accessible from outside. We will quickly review the rules also. We said HTTP should be accessible from everywhere, but SSH should be accessible from my IP only. So I will change it again. So my IP would have changed, right? So I will select my IP here itself instead of doing that. So this is my IP, right? I will save this rule. So I will close it. In the same way, I created one private subnet, right? In private subnet, what I said, SSH and MySQL 22 and 3306 will be only accessible from my public subnet, right? If any instance on this public SG. So what we did last time, we created two instances, and one instance we created in a public subnet and one in private subnet. We also assigned public security group to the public instance and private subnet to the private instance, right? And we verified we was able to do SSH from this private subnet. I mean, this was accessible from outside, but this was not, right? And this instance was also able to access the internet. So let me quickly also create another instance here. All right, we'll launch one instance. So let me take my Red Hat image. So I'm going with the existing thing at this moment, so you already know, familiar with those things. So I'm gonna select my VPC and I'm gonna use a public subnet first, and I gonna enable public IP to this machine, right? And that's fine for me. Let's revalidate. So DevOps VPC and DevOps public subnet, and I have enabled public IP to this instance, right? So let's go ahead and add storage. So we'll go with the existing one, and let's select the public security group so that these rules are, just verify the rules also if everything is fine. So you can see everything is fine. So tag was missed, so I'm gonna tag it also as a web server. So my security group public SG is selected. Gonna launch it quickly. So I had my DevOps 1 key. I'm gonna launch it. So I'm gonna go back and launch another instance. So let's scroll it down. So select your VPC, again select your private instance, So I'm gonna disable the public IP for that. This is because of private instance and will not be accessible from outside. So just re-verify DevOps VPC and private subnet, right? Go ahead and add storage. So we're gonna go with the default one at this moment, and we're gonna add one tag here. Tag, I will give it a DB server. So we're gonna configure the security group. So we're gonna take the existing security group, which is my, you can say, private, right? And what are the rules here? Rule, you can see, we will only be accessible from the public SC, nothing from outside. All good. Launch the instances now. So here we go, right? Both the instances has been launched. So let's verify once. Okay, so let's navigate to the public instance first and see we have got public IP, and let's try to access it. So we'll go to desktop, and I had one key here, AWS DevOps PPK. Okay, sounds good. So EC2-user. Okay, it's not taking the key. I think this was my key. I taken the wrong one, sorry for that. So DevOps 1, open EC2-user. Okay, sounds good. So now you see one thing. If I try to install some packages here, right, I am able to do it. If I try to update my machine, I'll be able to do it, right? So let's log into my, so let's verify this. So you can see I'm able to get the package, I'm able to update the package system. I will be able to do everything here, because even I am able to access this machine from outside. Even I am able to go outside from this machine, right? But what is the problem before me, right? When I come to this private instance, right, now this private instance has any private IP only, right? So what is the problem here? I can SSH this machine here, right, but I do not have capability to go outside. So first let's access this first, right? So what I'm gonna do here is I will exit this, right? So first I will take my PPK here. Let's do one thing, let's drag this to here, notepad. So let's go here. So you can see my key is here. So let's copy this, right, and vi, we can call it shaker.ppk. Let me, so let's take the PAM first. So where is my PAM? My PAM should be available in the download itself, right? So that's DevOps 1 PPK. Let's format this, and I will call it DevOps 1 PAM. So just drag this PAM here, put it here, right? So I just needed this PAM here. Just copy this PAM, right? Open this shaker.pam. You can give any name to this and paste this key here. Sorry, my bad. So just copy this PAM. You can do shift insert and you're done. Just save it and just change the permission to chmod 600 and shaker.pam. So we are good, guys, and now we should be able to access this private instance from here, right? Because my 22 port is open from this subnet, right? So I will take this private IP from here. So SSH-I for key, so I can give my key here. Sounds good. So DC, guys, I am successfully able to logged into this instance here. So if I do sudo su-l, I become root and I try to install any package here. Let's say I should do basically MySQL and something, and let's see if I'm able to do that. So it might take some time to get some errors, so let's keep the pause for a while. Right, do you see here we got some error, right? And you see here synchronization cache for this is this, because we do not have access to internet, we do not have ability to go outside, right? Even, but we don't want to keep it in a public subnet for some security reason, right? Now the things come before you, how you can allow, if you need some packages to be updated, right? If you need something to install here, so how you can do it, right? Here the NAT Gateway comes in, right? So what is NAT Gateway actually? NAT is for network address translation, right? That means the NAT Gateway is kind of, you can say, proxy, right? Which basically you can say, if I talk in the simple terms, right? That means if you have allocated NAT Gateway in your network, right, then what it will do is it will, you will be able to go outside from this NAT Gateway, right? But nobody will be able to access from where this request is coming. अगर मैं एक छोटा सा सिंपल एग्जांपल दूं, लेट्स से कि मुझे एक पेन खरीदना था, राइट? मैंने कपिल को बोला कपिल गेट मी अ पेन, राइट? जैसे ही मैंने कपिल को बोला, कपिल वेंट टू अ शॉप और कपिल ने बोला एक पेन दो, तो दुकानदार के पास एग्जैक्टली मेरी इंफॉर्मेशन हाइड हो गई कि एग्जैक्टली रिक्वेस्ट कहां से आई, एंड दुकानदार गेव पेन टू कपिल एंड कपिल गेव इट टू मी, राइट? दिस इज हाउ नेट वर्क्स, मींस जो एग्जैक्ट सोर्स है, योर आइडेंटिटी इज हिडन फॉर आउट पब्लिक, to outside of the world, right? But still you can access internet from using the NAT Gateway.
ओके सर, मतलब अभी यूज नहीं होता है ना, और ना हमें करना है?
No.
नहीं अभी यूज नहीं होता वो.
So
ठीक है.
So what we're gonna do now, guys, is we are going to pre-provision one NAT Gateway, right? So for doing NAT Gateway, what else we need? So you know the structure, right? Whatever so far we have done, I have shown you the example also here, right? So provisioning NAT Gateway, first you have to remember one thing. You first need one public IP address, right? And NAT Gateway should be always in a public subnet. Also remember it, NAT Gateway should be always in a public subnet. Remember this, it may be asked in the interview also. So the first, what we're gonna do is, I am going to procure one elastic IP here, right, for provisioning NAT Gateway. So I will allocate one IP here from Amazon pool itself, and will allocate this. So we are done with allocating one IP, and next we are going to create NAT Gateway here. So click on create NAT Gateway. So I said you always have to create in a public subnet. So remember this, अपने दिमाग में बिठा लेना. You cannot create there will be no benefit of creating NAT Gateway in a private subnet. So that's what we always need, this in a public gateway, because this will take our request to outside of the world. And the next, the elastic IP you have allocated, if you want to give any tag to it, you can go ahead and do that. I will not do this. So we'll go ahead and create the NAT Gateway. So it is going to take some time. So now it asks you to edit the routes here, right? The next goal for you to edit the routes. Editing route means you'll have to tell your routes how you are going to route our request, right? If you can click here to route tables, so it's going to take you in the same place, right? Otherwise you just click on route table. If you don't, otherwise you could click on close and come here and go to your private routing here, right? We know we created in the public subnet, but route we have to give here in private route table itself. So either you'll have to create private route table if you have existing one. So go to that route table, click on route, edit route, add route, and tell here 0.0.0.0/0. Any request coming from your instance should be land to your NAT gateway, and select your NAT gateway here and save the routes here, right? Once you're done with this, go ahead with the subnet association, because that is mandatory. After adding routes, you'll have to tell which subnet will go outside to get the internet. So click here to edit subnet and add your subnet here, which is private. So you can see private one, this one is the private one. So it should be expandable though, and not able to do that. I am in the same way, it's coming late. So here you can select private subnet, go ahead and click save, right? So we are done with adding our routes also. So now let's go to our private subnet that we had, right? We are already in our private subnet, which is 132. So let's revalidate that. Let's go to our instance, EC2, go to instances, so this was my private subnet, which is 132, right? So I am on that only. So let's install one package now, MySQL. So am I able to do that? So now see, it started like reaching out to the repo for accessing the internet. That means now we are able to access the internet from inside, right? But this instance will never be accessible from outside of the world. However, now you can see using the NAT gateway, it is able to access the internet also.